All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. There was some optimism for the St. John's Red Storm when conference play began in December. The Red Storm were 10-1 in the non conference portion of their schedule. However, it was one of the weaker schedules on the college basketball scene. And unfortunately for St. John's, they've been unable to consistently add to their win total in the Big East, where they're currently eighth in the conference. And it looks like this is going to be the fourth consecutive year and the 18th time in the last 21 years that the Johnnies will not be going to the NCAA tournament. Now, on the tournament stage, St. John's has not won a game since 2000. You got to go back to their opening round game in the 2000 NCAA tournament against Northern Arizona. Since then, nothing. And this is year four for St. John's under Mike Anderson. So, of course, people are going to say, well, you know what? You're not getting it done. What's going on? But after St. John's beat DePaul in their Big East opener, they would lose their next 5 games and within the Big East. And unfortunately, they've been unable to recover. It appeared that St. John's was about to turn the corner when they upset UConn on the road. But since then, the Johnnies have lost 4 out of their last 5, and their only win was a 2-point win at home over lowly Georgetown. Now, it's very easy to get caught up in the wash if you're St. John's in the Big East. And I say that because you look at it, this is a tough conference. You think about Xavier, Marquette, Creighton, Providence, Seton Hall, UConn, a Villanova team that is trying to get things going post Jay Wright, and then Butler, who's right behind St. John's with Thad Matta, and Butler only has 3 wins. So that just gives you an idea of how deep and how tough that this conference is. And of course, people are going to say with St. John's' struggles are Mike Anderson's days they're numbered. I mean, he's 64 and 50 in his 4 years in St. John's, but he's only 27 and 41 in the Big East. And I know that AD Mike Craig really hasn't committed to him long term in the way publicly recently, in the way that like some ADs would. However, he is under contract to Anderson is through 2027. He got that extension about a year or so ago. And with that said, a smaller school like St. John's, do they really want to be financially tied to one head coach that is not there and they're paying somebody else to coach their team? I'm not too sure about that. But, for St. John's program as a whole, it does not have the allure to kids like it once did because they've really struggled to keep the local guys. And that's a big thing because St. John's is a small local school in Queens, New York. And with that said, they've never really been a program that's going to go out there and compete nationally for talent. When St. John's was at its best, obviously it's the local kids, the Queens kids, Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, Long Island. That's where St. John's always strived at, and they're not getting those kids right now. That allure is not there. A lot of these kids are going away to schools. So it's one of those for St. John's. What do you do? So, that's looking on the long term for things. They have not been able to figure out a plan of attack, a steady plan for attack for quite some time. Didn't matter, obviously, now with Mike Anderson. It didn't matter before with Chris Mullen when he was there. Steve Lavin, no, and he was the one who got him to the tournament twice. Of course, Norman Roberts struggled for many years after he took over from Mike Jarvis. But you got to go back to what Fran Fraschilla, tried to bring St. John's back to, and that was how long ago. And then, of course, everybody's trying to keep up with Lou Carnesecca because when you think about St. John's ball, you think about Lou Carnesecca. But nonetheless, getting back to this St. John's team, and of course, the question is going to be, will they be able to salvage their season? St. John's has 7 conference games left, and I don't see it happening. They're at Butler tomorrow, and like I said, Butler is in ninth place right behind St. John's. That's not gonna be an easy game for the Johnnies. After that, they host Providence on the 11th. Not an easy game. Providence is basically a juggernaut, if you will, in the Big East right now. They're at DePaul, not going to be an easy game. They host Creighton, then they're at Georgetown. And again, Georgetown played St. John's very tough at home a couple of weeks ago. Then their final home game is for they're hosting UConn, and then they're at Marquette. If you're St. John's, you're lucky to come out of there with 2 wins because that is a very tough slate of games right there. Nonetheless, it's one of those, again, not to sound like a broken record, but it is very easy to get behind the 8 ball in the Big East Conference because it is a very tough and competitive conference. And unfortunately for St. John's, they have just never been able to recover. I think Mike Anderson will be back next season, in my opinion, just due to the fact of the financial constraints. Let's see what he can do. Let's see if he gets something going in the transfer portal for this team. And let's see if St. John's can find a way to stay in that upper echelon of teams in the Big East, but it is not easy. You think about the big time coaches in this conference. Xavier has Sean Miller. Marquette has Shaka Smart. You think about Greg McDermott at Creighton. You know, of course, Shaheen Holloway just came back to Seton Hall. Ed Cooley at Providence. He's established his program there. Of course, Danny Hurley at UConn. So, we can just go right down the list. Kyle Neptune is trying to get himself started at Villanova, and of course Thad Matta at Butler. So it is very easy to get caught up in the wash in this conference. Unfortunately, St. John's has fallen into that rut, and let's see if Mike Anderson and his squad can turn it around. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There is also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I am signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.